Well, there are many ramifications to Adityanath's becoming the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. It has huge implications not just for UP but for all of India. And the question we're asking tonight is whether by anointing him as the Chief Minister of India's most populous and largest state, the BJP is sending out a message. Are we on our way to becoming a Hindu Rashtra? Joining us on the program tonight, we have Manish Tiwari of the Congress Party, Mr. GVL Rao of the BJP. Yogi Adityanath joins us tonight. We also have Mr. Rakesh Sinha of the RSS, Asaduddin Owaisi of the IMM, Lok Sabha MP, of course, and we have Jyoti Malhotra, senior journalist here in the studio with us. Let me, before I ask the politicians, ask Jyoti this question. The fact that you have someone who's been so strident in his Hindutva ideology like Adityanath, is the message that you're getting from this that the BJP is not going to be apologetic about its Hindutva agenda anymore, and that we are eventually heading towards this concept of a Hindu Rashtra where we are essentially a Hindu nation where other religions also live?
Absolutely, Nidhi. In fact, today, the day after the elevation of Yogi Adityanath, we've seen some stories where it's where Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it's been said that he allegedly wanted Manoj Sinha, the junior telecom minister, to be the chief minister, but that Amit Shah, the party president, sort of coerced, persuaded him to let Yogi Adityanath become. Now, the point is, if the Prime Minister himself does not stand in the way of Amit Shah, what does that mean? That means that the Prime Minister is telling all of us, all Indians, that the gloves are off, that we want a Hindu Rashtra. After all, Yogi Adityanath has himself said very clearly that he will turn UP and India into a Hindu Rashtra, and the Prime Minister is now agreeing with him. So I think the responsibility has to be with the Prime Minister, who is the Prime Minister for all Indians, for all citizens. And it's very clear, this whole sort of mathematical kind of, the piecing together of the UP election, the amazing mandate that the BJP got, whether it was the non-Yadav OBC, the non-Jatav Dalit, etc., that Amit Shah put together. But the glue was Prime Minister Modi. And I think he has to take responsibility for this extreme rightward lurch of the Bharatiya Janata Party. And now he's telling everybody that whether you like it or not, this is going to be the agenda of the BJP, and all Muslims, and not only all Muslims and all minorities, but even Hindus who believe in this sort of very liberal, inclusive Hinduness, have to fall in line. That's his message.
Well, the interesting thing, Mr. GVL Rao, is that the BJP is not quite putting it that way officially. I mean, it is being said that, and Yogi Adityanath says that too, that he's going to work for Vikas, he's not going to discriminate, that it's the whole plank is about development, and that's what the Prime Minister was saying when he was tweeting about Yogi Adityanath yesterday as well. But in choosing him, there seems to be a clear message here. And why does the BJP then shy away from that? Why not, tell it for what it is?
No, Nidhi, first of all, I think Ms. Jyoti was talking about some speculative, she was trying to pass off some speculations or rumors in the media to be some truth. The reality is that decisions in the BJP are made by the jointly by the parliamentary board, and Honorable Prime Minister has the final say in every decision. So let there be no speculation on that score whatsoever. As far as I would flip the question and ask you, why not Mr. Yogi Adityanath? If he could be, he had been a 5-term parliament MP, Lok Sabha MP, repeatedly elected by the people of Gorakhpur, and even in elections where the BJP underperformed in Lok Sabha polls, he was able to manage a victory because of his own personal heft and personal performance. So a 5-term MP who has performed creditably has been elected by people of Gorakhpur. I think it's very wrong of the media to try and paint him in a different color. He is as much a as much a development man as anybody could be.
Well, we
but
haven't
the problem
painted him in
is
any colours, Mr. Rao.
particularly the English media.
No. I'll leave the digs of the
I
media
think
aside.
there is a
He
visceral.
is being judged on his track record.
Dislike.
He is being judged on his track record, also based on the statements that he has made against Muslims over the years, and he has made no bones about how he feels about Muslims. You know, and I can read out 10 statements to you right now. We've gone through them ad nauseum over the last 2 days. Therefore, he is being judged on those very tough words. He has a group called the Hindu Yuva Vahini, which has tried to implement his very staunch anti-Muslim agenda on the ground. That is why these questions are being asked, where it's not something that's just being made up out of thin air.
No, but Nidhi, but you see, every time why do you associate everything Hindu with communalism? But every time, all of you in the media, I think when you talk about Muslim, you think that's a way of.
How is
secularism.
everything Hindu communal? How did you reach that conclusion?
No, I think this is what the entire media and the entire political class believes it to be. The real problem in this country is appeasement and vote bank politics has been considered to be
Mr. Rao, if
a form
Manoj
of
Sinha had
secular
become the
politics.
Chief Minister of Uttar
I think
Pradesh,
that's
we
the
wouldn't
real
have this
problem.
debate. He's a Hindu too. This debate wouldn't be there. This
No, but why
is
should
only
you
based
have
on
this debate,
Adityanath's
even
comments.
Mr. Yogi Adityanath? That's my counter
Because of the history. Look at
Because
Why
of
his
should
his
you have
history.
this debate? Why should you question it?
Because he's
No,
made
but you
comments
have
in the
never
past.
questioned,
He's
Sonia
got
Gandhi.
he's got a
You
number
never
of cases
questioned Sonia
against him.
Gandhi when she cried. No, but you never questioned Sonia
Aren't
Gandhi
you better
when
than
she
Sonia
cried
Gandhi?
after the
Aren't you,
Batra House
aren't you
encounter
the party
where
with the
terrorists
difference?
have been
Why do you
killed?
keep comparing yourself
You
to the
never
Congress?
questioned her being a Muslim appeaser.
No, we're going to come
you
to the
never questioned
politics of the
Digvijay
opposition. But rather than get into whataboutery, Mr. Rao, I'm asking that when you choose somebody like Adityanath, who is very clearly a strident Hindutva figure, what is the message that is going out to the people of India?
No, I think when the party chooses, when the party anointed him as the chief minister, party in him has seen a leader who has a mass base of his own, a leader who has very uncompromising credentials as far as integrity is concerned, someone who is seen as a development man in his own constituency, someone who has been seen to be a very, very tough administrator, and a state like Uttar Pradesh certainly
Then why not
needs
make him a CM
man
face?
like him to be able to really control the kind of the police machinery and bureaucracy that you have. And people of Uttar Pradesh are thrilled with the choice of the BJP. And I don't know why, I can understand our rival political parties, but why is the media also why is the media getting any problems with it?
No, the media is only trying to do its job, Mr. Rao, which is to ask questions.
Exactly.
And Jyoti, I'll just come back to you on this. And again, Mr. Owaisi, let me ask you, how are you reading this choice of Adityanath? I mean, the BJP says he is someone who is a mass leader. He's very popular. I think that is not in dispute. If you go to Uttar Pradesh, many people will say that they are huge fans of his, they are supporters of his. There was certainly an undercurrent of that during the elections. But given his communal statements in the past, the kind of cases that he faces, what is the message that you think is coming from the BJP? Do you think that the PM will be able to rein him in, even if he wants to?
First of all, let me make it very clear that I was not at all surprised when this person was given the constitutional post of the biggest state in India. My apprehension is that having made all the statements which he had made, which are there on record, now he's holding a constitutional post. How would he react tomorrow if the Ram Mandir Babri Masjid case comes? How will his government react? On 22nd of March, the Supreme Court, if it says that conspiracy charge should be run on Advani and Uma Bharti, how will this government react? Thirdly, please remember that the Prime Minister himself, by talking about Khabristan Shamshan, has created what Mr. Narasimha Rao said, an appeasement. What appeasement? You are creating a fear psychosis of minority within the majority community. How can the Prime Minister, he's not a corporator, he's the Prime Minister of India, who said Khabristan, Shamshan, I mean a mere graveyard and providing electricity is appeasement? I mean that is the constitutional duty, Article 29 and 30 clearly lays it out. And 50 years ago, Nehru said very clearly that the threat to India is not from communism, but from right-wing Hindu communalism. So this is what we have to understand, and everyone has to be apprehensive because of what statements have been made in the past, and now he's a constitutional authority.
I think that it does come down to the statements made in the
Nidhi,
past. And Mr. Rao, just give me a moment. I want to get a quick comment from everyone on the panel first. And I'll come back to you. Manish Tiwari, the question though that is then being asked of opposition parties, especially the Congress and the Samajwadi Party today, is whether you all need to reorient your brand of secular politics, quote unquote, and whether, as the BJP alleges, that there has been this kind of minority appeasement which has led to this Hindu consolidation on the other side that the BJP is seeing today. Does the opposition need to reorient how it plays its politics?
Well, Nidhi, every nation is based upon a certain set of values, and the values on which the Indian state is based are encapsulated in the preamble of our constitution. And secularism happens to be one of those values on which this country was constituted, on which this country stands. And the word secularism, in fact, occurs in the constitution even prior to when it was inserted in the preamble in 1974. Number two, Nidhi, the true test of any democracy is not how you treat your majority. The true test of a democracy is how do you treat your minorities. And by minorities, I do not only mean the Muslim minority. It also means the Sikh minority, the Christian minority, the various other indigenous and tribal groups which are there in different parts of the country. So therefore, secularism or pluralism for India is a necessity. It's an imperative. And so therefore, if anybody tries to impose a majoritarian ethos, it is not going to work. And this is not the first time the BJP has tried it. All of us seem to have forgotten that the poster child of the Babri Masjid demolition was Uma Bharti. Uma Bharti was made the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, the BJP Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. It's another matter that she later fell out and moved away and then came back again. Kalyan Singh, who was the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, who is now Governor of Rajasthan, on Kalyan Singh's watch, the Babri Masjid was demolished after he gave a solemn undertaking to the Supreme Court. And he was sentenced for contempt of court and had to go to prison, whether symbolically for 1 day. So therefore, it's not very easy for anybody to try and change or gerrymander with the basic construct of the Indian
Manish,
state.
the question
Having
is
said
whether
that,
in
yes,
that,
you are right.
No, that,
possibly somewhere there is a need for introspection. There is a need for introspection to find out as to how, this identity politics can be surmounted. And I'm quite surprised that after the Supreme Court judgment, which came only a month before the polls, which has said that you cannot ask for votes in the name of caste or community, either yours or of the elector, we still continue to have this discussion or this politics of identity reasserting itself.
That ain't happening in my lifetime or yours. But Yogendra Yadav, what Manish Tiwari said about how secularism is defined in the Constitution.
I hope it happens in my lifetime and yours.
Well, we hope so, but I don't think so. The question of how we define secularism today, are we seeing a sort of redefinition of that? I mean, or a reinterpretation of that by the BJP? That it's not secularism as we have traditionally seen it in this country for decades, that now it has a different meaning as far as the BJP is concerned. And I again come to that point of a Hindu Rashtra, which actually Shekhar Gupta first raised yesterday on our program, saying that this is what we're coming to. We're going to become a Hindu nation where we allow other religions to live as well. Yogendra Yadav.
Let's face it, Nidhi, there is nothing about redefining secularism. We have an absolute naked form of communal majoritarianism, which is coming step by step, and every step looks small, but it takes us in the opposite direction. The simple fact is that Mr. Yogi Adityanath is not being chosen CM despite who he is being chosen because who he is. And who he is not merely some of the provocative and utterly gut-wrenching speeches that he has given. It is also about what he has done. Do remember media reports that some of his major opponents, Hindu all of them, just disappeared from Gorakhpur. How did they disappear? We don't know. I don't want to speculate. But please remember, it's not only vis-a-vis Muslims. We are looking at something far more dreadful here. We are going in the opposite direction. I would not say we are becoming a Hindu Rashtra. My nation is much bigger. I hold it much dear. And I'm not going to give up on my nation. But yes, the character of state power is clearly becoming one-sided. I do not blame the BJP for that. If any peddler of hatred succeeds, why blame that peddler? I mean, he's simply, selling whatever gets him more votes. What about us? What's happening to the rest of it? And I hold squarely Mr. Manish Tiwari's party above all responsible for that. I do hold Mr. Owaisi's kind of politics responsible for that. I do think that we have simply delegitimized politics of secularism in this country. Secularism, which was the most sacred principle of our country, has been turned into one of the most fraudulent practices. It is true that Muslims are disadvantaged. Muslims are discriminated against. We know that from Satsar Committee's report, Muslims' condition has become worse. Muslim community is poor, discriminated, disadvantaged more than ever before. But because these so-called secular politicians do not want to do a thing about it and have not cared one bit about it, that is why they appease the Muslim clergy. So what is called appeasement of Muslims is not an appeasement of Muslim community. It's an appeasement of Muslim clergy, the leadership for which Muslims have no patience. Just look at this triple talaq debate and look at how completely shameful has been the conduct of these secular parties. None of them had the courage to speak about it. None of them said, no, we don't stand for triple talaq. Samajwadi Party, Congress, all of them simply go and join the Muslim clergy, which is doing something which is strange.
Yogendra, may I correct you out there?
If you do this kind of
Personally,
politics,
I have repeatedly come out and said that I don't stand for it.
Sir,
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Sir, your party, your party, I just wanted to understand, is it Mr. Tiwari?
Yeah.
I didn't, Mr. Tiwari, I wanted
That's
your
right,
party
absolutely.
to come and say, we do not stand for triple talaq. Did your party had the courage to say so? So it is the secular politics which has delegitimized secularism in this country, and that is why we really need to now think of secular politics afresh. Rather than blame Mr. Amit Shah, Mr. Modi and the BJP, I don't want to spend a minute on that.
No, you're absolutely right, Yogendra Yadav, and I'll take that back to Mr. Owaisi and the others shortly. But Rakesh Sinha, you've just heard the argument that was made. Yogendra Yadav doesn't believe we'll become a Hindu nation. Jyoti Malhotra does, and we've had this argument now for 2 days about what signal Adityanath's appointment actually sends. Why, I mean, is today's Hindutva now packaged as nationalism, packaged as development? Is this a new way to package Hindutva?
I begin with the present discourse. Look, in the contemporary discourse, everybody is taking interest in BJP. It is not unnatural. Any party party which become a dominant party, others take interest. And the example is the Congress. When Purushottam Das Tandon was fighting election in 1950, Jansangh Socialist and Congress Congress was not there. Jansangh and Socialists were taking interest just like active players. What is outrageous that? It is an agenda of the pseudo-intellectuals and pseudo-secularists. They are trying to demonize the Hindutva leaders. You are completely subverting democracy by limiting one's right to become the chief minister. Here is Owaisi. I have a complete difference with his kind of politics. But since he is a citizen of India, he is a member of parliament, tomorrow he becomes the chief minister of Telangana or Andhra Pradesh, I will not question his right to become the chief minister. I can question his ideological moorings, but I can't question. Here you are questioning who should be the chief minister, the choice of, no.
What is not being questioned. The right of his becoming chief minister is not being questioned. His track record is being questioned.
Let me complete
and why he was chosen.
Let me complete. I say you can question
and
his
what signal it
you
sends.
can question his ideological moorings, you can question his modus operandi, but you can't. Have you seen his parliament? Have you seen his parliamentary record? Have you seen his parliamentary records? 78.
I am concerned with his statements about killing Muslims, sir.
The real question has been raised. A larger question has been raised by
what
Manish
about his statements against Muslims, killing Muslims?
Let me.
How does that fit in? How does that fit in with Sabka Vikas? How does that fit in with Sabka Vikas?
Give me some uninterrupted time as you have given to others. Manish Tiwari and Yogendra Yadav have raised a very pertinent question, and I share that question. It is larger question of secularism, defining secularism. You know, we have inherited secularism, which is a European model of secularism that is born in conflicts between church and the state. But there is a cultural, there is a historical roots of secularism in India. A historical roots of cultural secularism goes back to the thousands of years. So BJP and Hindutva's narrative is reinventing that cultural roots of secularism. Where
Yeah,
which
so that's what we're saying the same thing.
tragedy is that in entire discourse and academic discussion, these cultural roots have been ignored, deliberately ignored. I am giving 2 examples.
No, one second.
Let me hear. Yeah,
no, one example. I have to.
One example.
Can I say something about
Yeah, 1 second.
Entire debate of the Constituent Assembly on secularism you go through, that debate emphasizes that there should not be a difference between majority and minority. And on 10th August 2005, the Supreme Court judges have given the verdict that this should be minority term and concept of minority should be fade out.